Cleared its first hurdle for kids aged 12 to 15. The FDA has also authorized the shot for kids between the ages of 5 and 11 who are immunocompromised. The agency reduced the required wait time for a booster from 6 months to 5 months, so they cut a month off of that. Now, the CDC still has to sign off on this. They are expected to do so as soon as tomorrow. If that happens, ABC News reports those booster shots could be available as early as Thursday.
Okay, so what happens now if you or your child test positive for COVID-19? How long do you need to stay away from work or school? We're going to bring in Suzanne Bruner. She's here in the newsroom with us. There's been a lot of confusion over the past week about just how long you're supposed to isolate, when. Break it down for us.
Yeah, Kara. So health officials, they have some new guidance on how long you should isolate just as people return to work and get back to school this week. And we've been asking you this morning, is your office working from home again? You can let us know. Weigh in on our poll by going to WFAA.com/vote now, or you can use the WFAA app. And this is what we're seeing this morning. 56% of you say no, and then 44 say yes. But COVID hospitalizations, they're on the rise across North Texas. And Dr. Phil Wong, director for the Dallas County Health and Human Services, says we've been seeing a pretty rapid number of cases just this week alone. With that being said, this is a look at some of the recommendations and updated guidelines from the CDC for isolation and quarantine period. This is on its website. It's got a little bit, quite a bit to mention here, so I've broken that down for you. And here's some things that you do need to know. So regardless of vaccination status, if you test positive for COVID, you should isolate for 5 days. Now, the CDC recommends if you don't have symptoms, then you can leave the house. But then after 5 days, you got to continue wearing that mask. Now, if you have been exposed to someone with COVID, people who have their booster don't need to quarantine, but they should wear a mask for 10 days. Now, if you don't have your booster shot, if you're not vaccinated at all, then you should quarantine for 5 days and then wear a mask for another 5 days. Now, for anyone exposed, the CDC does recommend that you get tested 5 days after being exposed to COVID. But here's what Dr. Huang has to say about those new guidelines.
That most of the transmission occurs like 1 to 2 days before onset of symptoms and maybe 2 to 3 days after. We're trying to balance that safety from the science with how do we keep operations going in a safe manner.
Dr. Huang points out some practical considerations to consider, which are for health care workers, to homeless shelters and jails. But doctors really encouraging people, Kara, to get their booster shot and to keep wearing their mask.
Okay, thank you so much, Suzanne. So we know that finding a COVID test is not easy right now. We have information on that.